Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew McDaniels. I have my good friend Gordy with me today. We're going to talk to you about Gordy's experience with the mining group that he just joined, and basically just have a conversation on everything. I'm going to ask him several questions to give you feedback on the time that he's had in his experience. So Gordy, could you please share with everybody where you're from, what you do, and a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Hello, Andrew. And for the group, I'm Gordy Caverly. I'm I'm a regional vice president for a professional engineering company right now, designing fiber optic networks. And I'm in Florida right now, currently trying to be on a week's vacation. It doesn't always work that way. And I've been amateur investor for a number of years. I'm an older gentleman. I'm a Vietnam vet, as you can see, so that pretty much dates my age. I've been blessed with a lot of energy. Even COVID tried to get me one time, but I'm doing well now. And I ran across Andrew through a friend of mine that was in real estate that I've been trying to get actively participated in. And he led me to Andrew, and I'm really thankful for that. I can tell you that right now, and I'll tell you why. In my career, I've spent thousands of dollars on education. I mean, I'm talking literally thousands, way in excess of $50,000 through different courses, webinars, instructions, videos, books. I have a shelf full of books on how to do, why to do, when to do, what for. But you know something? The thing that excited me about the mastermind group is every one of those other courses gave you something to read and expected that you just understood all the idiosyncrasies of what you're reading, the results of any decisions you might make, but you still had to make the decisions. You didn't have anybody saying, I wouldn't do that. Nah, not now. Maybe you should think about this. Why would you want to do that when you could do this? Why would you want to invest in that when you could do this? This is what the trend is. This is what we see going. So the greatest difference when I ran across the mastermind group headed up by Andrew was, for the first time in my life, I found someone that has walked the walk, talked the talk, is a faith-based individual like I am, and was willing to share. And I thought, that is really cool. When I found about it, I was on within 24 hours. I did not have any hesitation. I locked and loaded and said, let's rock and roll. I said, I got a lot to learn. I've learned a lot, but you know something? You can learn a lot. You can learn a lot of wrong stuff, and it just costs you time and money to unlearn it. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, and that's why I came, some of the reasons why I came to the mastermind group.
That's fantastic. No, I think you're a record holder. You're the fastest person to join the group. I think we talked on the phone, and I think that later that evening you were already ready to go. So it's a pleasure for me because there's people, there's every all over the spectrum. There's people that are ready to go, and people that need some time, and they need to think about it, or they have funds out and they need to liquidate some things. But yeah, it's really interesting that how we connected. And I always think that people that are supposed to connect, it doesn't happen randomly, right? The man upstairs is responsible for putting people together, and I think that's important. So Gordy, can you share when you were looking, you weren't aware basically of the service before you met me. So now that you've met me, what are your goals as far as your investments?
Well, right now, My goal is to become more and more ingrained into your teachings, your methodologies, your processes. And eventually I've had investments in real estate. I have commercial real estate investments that are doing well. I say some, I have one, but it is doing very well. And I have investments in stocks, bonds. Some I'm going to unload. I have some physical metals. I do have some mines. I have followed some gold and silver investment organizations on the web. And they have not been wrong. They've gotten me into some of the same metals that I was pleased to find out that Andrew and I hold the same mining companies. So that at least told me they were on track. But these investment clubs, you are just a number to them, and there's no one-on-one consulting. There's nothing personal there. It's if you subscribe, great. If you don't, that's great too. And I've learned that I've developed an offshore account with some precious metals in it. I do have some precious metals at home and in a vault. And I have other investments. I had some annuities and I had some bonds. And I'm in the course of rolling those out. And like Andrew told me, he said, well, that annuity, that's like dead money. So, but when I roll it out, the insurance company, they're more than happy to take 20% of whatever you had there. And that's all right, because the 80%, I'll make up that 20% within a year. So yeah, I'm not afraid of that. So I walked away. So that's some of the investments I've had out there. And I just decided when I met you and your team, I followed my heart and my soul and pulled that trigger, and I'm here.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's important to know that, what I do is I've got companies that I found after doing significant due diligence, so for me, it's like I'm doing this work already. So I want to be able to provide that to people that haven't even got a clue that mining is available to invest in, and so I know we had talked before, and part of your goals, I think, are you're at the stage of life right now where you don't want to lose money, right? Like you want to keep what you've got, but also make money as well to live off of and enjoy your life and travel, because like you and your wife love to travel, right?
Yeah, if we get a chance, we do. Yes,
we do, Andrew. Yes.
You're being recorded, sweetheart.
Hello.
This is my wife, Paula.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Andrew.
Absolutely. And so it's good to try. It's good, it's another income stream for you to be able to eventually, once the metals bull market starts, it should be able to be a significant income maker for you at some point.
Yes, that's the other reason I'm here is for once in my life, I'm with a group that has a leader that can identify the trends, that it's not will it succeed, it's when will it succeed, and it will always move down that road.
Yeah, there's no guarantee on individual companies. I don't guarantee anything. All I say is that it's inevitable that the dollar is going to be destroyed at some point over the next 10 years. It should drop, another 90% in value. And if you look at gold compared to other currencies, they're already at all-time highs in other currencies. So it's important to know that. One thing I want to ask you is, based on, like you said, there's other people out there. What made you decide to work with me, Gordy?
I'll tell you the thing that made me decide to work with you. There's a lot of other people out there that are probably just as knowledgeable as you are, that have good track records. And I'll tell you the thing that separated, the delta that separated you from everybody else was I could see in your eyes, your heart, and your soul what you wanted to achieve. And that you wanted to achieve the ability to share your knowledge and success with anybody that would follow you. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to follow you, your teachings, and I wanted to be part of that success team. And you are correct. I am an older gentleman. I'm going on 77. And I cannot retire today, but my goal is within the next year to be able to retire. And I learned a long time ago, you work full-time on your job and you work part-time on your fortune until you can work full-time on your fortune.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping that I can achieve with this group and by following your recommendations.
Well, Gordy, I help my parents as well. So, I've got my heart is to help, and my heart is to share, and my heart is to give advice. So I'm not a licensed professional, right? But if somebody asks me what I'm going to do, I'm going to share what I'm going to do. Because I've got, I know accounting, I've got a master's in finance, I've got over a decade of financial market experience. So when someone comes to me and asks me in particular, I'm going to say, like, one of the conversations we had when we first met, Gordy, was you were wanting to know what to do specifically. And I said to you, hey, look, first pray on it, number one, and number two, talk to your wife about what you want to do with your capital first, because I'm not the one telling you what to do. You get to make that decision by yourself, and you can ask me like what I would do, and I can give you my response to that. So it's important that that we can have that kind of trust as well. Like, because you had mentioned to me before that it's important that you can trust somebody with your financial details, and it remains in confidentiality. So for me, that's important because all my life I've either worked in the mortgage business, or hard money lending. So I have to keep people's data private and protected. So I'm used to that already.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I want to be very specific about. Why you, as opposed to somebody else? And I was able to share my financial positions, my stock holdings, my personal financial statement with you, knowing that it was entrusted, because when I pulled the trigger on Andrew, I wanted you to see where I'm at. I wanted you to understand I'm 76 going on 77, and where I'm at and where my goals are, where I'm trying to get to. And when I made the decision to follow you, that automatically triggered in me, if you said jump off this 3-foot cliff into that pond, that's where I'm going. Okay. Now I make my own decisions, but I talked to my wife. I prayed on it. I told her what our annuity was doing and how much it's going to cost me. And she says, honey, if you believe in him, let's go. And I said, I do. I said, that's it. So I pulled the trigger and I'm moving money around right now. Does it happen fast? No, it doesn't happen fast, because these guys like to hang on to your money for as long as they can. Then they charge you the living hell out of it. So
tell everybody how we connected, because that's a cool story too.
Yeah, I went down and I figured a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was going to need something in my retirement that I could work on. And I was successful in one real estate commercial adventure. So I thought I better get into real estate. So I took a course by an organization, and it cost me $35,000. And I busted my arse studying and training. And then the professional business I'm associated with, fiber optics, that just exploded. I have 2 offices now I manage. I'm working 55 hours a week. So my ability to chase all the real estate leads, that just did not happen. So coming back to Michigan, I joined a local real estate group, and there's a guy came over there and he done a presentation, and he offered the same course for me as a veteran for like $1,400 instead of $35,000. So I joined that with him, and I built a good relationship with him. And he's busy, I'm busy, but in the between times we hook up. And then he told me one day, he says, you know, I think I got a guy that you need to at least know about. So he sent me to your Facebook page. And I looked on that and I saw what was there. And then I requested a call. And then when I heard your voice and talked to you, my wife was listening to you at the same time. And my wife is from Greece. And we have friends that live on Cyprus. And her family's all from Greece. And I've been over there 5 times. But when I heard your voice and listened to you tell me about your career path and stuff like that, it was over with for me. I can tell you right now, if I had this thing to do, I wish I'd have met you 20 years ago. Okay. Yeah. You might not have been where you're at, but everybody has to hook their wagon to some horse going through life. You can't do it alone. And I'm glad you're the horse that I finally found, because I got some old mares that I beat to death and they didn't come through. So.
Well, real estate and being an entrepreneur is a lonely business. So it's good to connect with like-minded people. And in my group, I try to have, like-minded people like yourself that are intelligent, hardworking, that have capital that they need to do something with. And so it's a blessing for me to be able to create this and see it grow over time. So for me, it's great. It's my passion. I love to do what I'm doing. I get to talk to cool people like you every day, and it's great. One of the things I also want to ask you is, since you started, what has impressed you the most?
Probably your willingness to communicate with me on a one-to-one basis.
Mm-hmm.
That separates you from every other organization out there. Now, and I realize the group is small and you can do that, and you don't want to have a big group because that's going to dilute that big time. But I can tell you right now, I've been involved in a lot of organizations, and it's almost like, well, I'll tell you some of the story, but I don't want to tell it all to you. I'll tell you some of the secrets, but I don't want to tell you all the secrets. And they certainly don't give you any personal information. Mm-hmm. I like your approach that, listen, I'm not a licensed investor. I'll tell you what I'm doing. You pray on it. You follow what you want to follow. If you want to follow everything I'm doing, then follow everything I'm doing. If you want to follow part of it, you can follow part of it. But I decided when I pulled that trigger, I was going to follow all of it, and that's it. And I'm in the process of aligning my portfolio with where you think it should be and how yours is aligned. So that's why I did that.
It's like I've got one guy in the group that started like in his early 20s, and he knew nothing about mining. He didn't even have one stock, and he's been with me a little over a year, and now he is at the level where he can do his own research. He can read reports. He can get the knowledge. He's self-sufficient now. He went from knowing nothing. When I talked to him, a light bulb went off in his brain going, wow, I didn't realize that I could do this. And so for somebody like who has no experience whatsoever, within a year, that's the kind of progress. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm not just trying to help you make money. I want to help you learn this as well, so that that you have a competence. You don't have to be expert in this, but you can have a competence level where you understand the terminology and whether someone's bullshitting you or not. Because I don't like to sugarcoat shit. Like I like to be upfront with people. I like to tell people. I like to be upfront, and I like to give it straight. And so for me, that's part of the benefit. Like it mentioned, people can message me, they can call me. Normally, like during my day, I'm only unavailable for probably like 2 or 3 hours because I swim every day. By the way, guys, I hope you like my background. It's a cool thing that I found out on Google Meet. So anyway, So it's good that you've hit the ground running, and that it seems to me that you number one, you understand the reason why we're doing what we're doing. It wasn't like I didn't have to spend 2 hours explaining to you. You already understood why you need to do this. Sometimes people don't know that. You know what I mean, Gordy? So like it, I don't mind talking 1 or 2 hours to somebody to get them from where they are to where, okay, there's a light bulb moment. Yeah, like for me, I love to share. That's my heart. So go ahead.
Yes. One of the things about investments, you'll hear cute little sayings, the trend is your friend. If you know how to cuddle up next to the trend, you might not know by yourself. You might not know what asset group to get into. You might not know when that trend's going to go, and no one can guarantee you anything in the market about where it's going to start or stop. But it's nice to have a guiding light, and that's what you are. You are a guiding light. You can pull the trigger on, I'm buying this, I'm selling this. Well, if you're going to use you as a guiding light, then I would suggest you do the same thing.
Yeah.
Even though you might do something different, but why are you in the group or paying your subscription fees or anything like that if you don't want to follow the information from somebody that has walked the walk before you, has a master's in finance and a lot of education in geology, and understands everything that you want to become? That is just crazy. So no, you can identify the trends, and that is so critical in investments. That's what Warren Buffett does. He identifies trends, and when everybody else is running, he goes in and loads up.
Yeah, well, the cool thing that I like what you just mentioned, because I need to tell everybody that number one, I'm a contrarian investor, and I'm also a value investor. So when everybody loves something, I hate it, and when everybody hates it, I love it. And so I've been loading up for 2 3 years, actually over 3 years now. I've been loading up thousands and thousands and thousands of shares. Every check I get, I put more and more into my account. Basically, what I'm just trying to say is that um, like you'd mentioned before, as far as inevitability, it's inevitable. The U.S. is toast as far as the financial system, the banking system. There's going to be banking crisis, insurance crisis. State and local governments are going to go bankrupt. It's just, Social Security is going to go toast. You have to have some, like you'd mentioned, you own physical gold. The physical gold is your insurance policy, but the mining investments is the way you get out of the rat race, and the way that you get above, and you get above this inflation that we've had. So like I mentioned to my guys in the group, never sell the physical unless there's some other opportunity available that you really, really, really want to do. In my opinion, I think real estate is going to be bumpy for the next 3 to 5 years minimum. I don't think we're going to have another situation where the Fed can print out all the money and do what it did in 2008, 2009. I don't think we're going to be able to reflate this bubble once it bursts. Now, there's people that are scared about deflation. The problem that they're worried, they think that because risk assets will have deflation, that gold and silver are also going to have deflation. That's not the case. In 2020, right after the COVID crash, silver went from $16 an ounce back up to 30 within 5 months. And then if you think about it, the Fed is going to have to print all the money and stuff it into the banks and hope the banks lend, because right now the banks are not lending. So the liquidity in the economy is drying up right now. All the money is getting withdrawn from loans, and the The banks are keeping it at the Fed themselves. So the banks are getting the money from the Fed, but they're giving the money right back to the Fed to earn interest. So that money is not being lent into the economy. So the U.S. has to retool and become a manufacturing economy, and that's going to take 5 or 10 years minimum. China is converting itself into not a manufacturing, like they're more importing now than exporting, and that's going to continue as well. Go ahead, Gordy. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay. One of the things I've seen and I've learned is the Feds only have so many tools to control this economy, and they're of the mindset that if you keep raising interest rates, you're going to stop inflation. But eventually they're going to go back to QE, printing money. And my fear, and you can address this one here, is I've heard many rumors that, you know, there's several $1 trillion sitting in all the investors' 401ks. They'll come in, take your 401k and convert you to digital dollars and give you 80% of your 401k, which is basically a rape of 20% or more of your 401k.
Well, I'm not entirely sure what they will do. All I know is that the Fed, it's inevitable that they restart QE, quantitative easing. They'll print money to be able to lend it out and buy mortgage bonds, mortgage-backed securities. And what they'll do is they'll try to drop rates back down, the federal funds rate back down to zero. What worked in the past is not going to work in the future.
No.
The era of easy money is over, and so what I mentioned before, once risk assets are toast, that's when all the money flows into gold, silver, commodities, uranium, you know, things like that. The money will flow. And so, like, if you look at like uranium is a recession-resistant investment, because if you don't produce the uranium needed for the power companies, the lights go out. So,
correct.
So there's a lot of inflation protected investments through mining, and also you are covering your ass when it comes to potential recessions. Now, one thing that I will say is that gold and silver will get whacked. They'll get sold off with everything else.
Sure.
But that just means that there's a greater opportunity to buy more. Like, for example, I think I told you on the call, if a Ferrari is 100 grand and it goes on sale the next week for 70 grand, does that make it less of a Ferrari?
No.
No, it doesn't. It just means it's on sale and you're getting a good deal for something that's worth more than what the market is giving it. So, you know.
Yes. Yeah, the value just went up.
Yeah. So since you've joined, you've received my master list, you've received my risk management. What's the thing that you like the most about like my setup? What do you like the most?
Well, for the first time in my life, I got a recommendation of where my investments should be going into and which ones they should be going into and the entry price points at or below. And if it's above this price point, don't get into it and wait. If it comes down below the price point, get into it. And that is mirrored after what you've done with some of the price points. Some of the investments I'm getting into are a lot less than what you got into them already. So what just tells me that's even a greater opportunity for growth on the other side. I'm trying to retire in another year so I can do this full time. This is the only vehicle I've got to allow me to do that. I don't have a retirement monthly pension. So this has got to make it happen.
You know, your entry prices, Gordy, are phenomenal. Your entry prices are so good that I'm jealous. Now, there's a thing called cost averaging, which is basically if you buy it at this price and it comes down, then you can add more and then add more if the price goes down. And so that's what I've been doing for several years. Now I have probably like half a dozen companies that are above 50% to 100% or more already as far as profit. I just sold 2 companies just in the past couple weeks, one for 120% return and one for 100% return, just to be able to deploy it into something, into
Sure.
a better action. So that's one of the cool things with the group, is that it's very fluid. If I find something that I like better, and by the way, just to share with everybody, I don't share a company that I've not personally done due diligence on. I have bought it myself. I love it to death. And like I said before, I share the price that I've paid, and I like it when my guys can get in at a lower price than I've paid, because that way, when every like 10% drop in the price, it juices the returns on the way up. So for me, I love when somebody comes in at these price levels. For me, it's great.
Yeah, it gives you excitement that you're doing the right thing for your heart and for your soul. And on my side of that equation, it excites me that I don't have someone that's just willing to teach. I basically have a partner.
Yeah, we I try to have a good relationship with every single person, because, number one, you put faith and trust in me, and for me, trust is built over a lifetime, and it can be broken in 1 second. So I value trust more than anything else. Obviously, we like each other. We get along great. That's great. And, it's important that it's important for people to go, like, first off, you need to pray on it, then use your gut, then use your heart.
That's right.
And then that way, you talk to your family, you talk to people around you. That way you make the right decision. And for me, it's like, I always talk to my wife. I consult with her on everything that I do. I pray. Everything that I try to do is, for me, it's really, really important that I'm not just the only one. I need to verify how you know, I want another set of eyes on something before I pull the trigger.
But
So
the other good thing about this is when you pray on something, when you ask the Lord for guidance and you talk to your wife, and your heart, soul, and mind is in total alignment, make sure you don't have failure to launch.
right,
Pull the trigger.
and
You
that
got
was
it. You got to be willing to jump. You got to be willing to go.
yeah. I mean, I've talked to probably half a dozen people in the past year that want to join, but for one reason or another, they probably just want to verify me some more, and I'm okay with that. So
Sure.
the point for me is really just to get the word out, because I'm limited to my own, like, I'm limited to my own my reach on social media, and so I'm like, it's great that I get to, like, word of mouth referrals from other people. And one thing I wanted to mention as well, in the group, Gordy, if you need anything, it's great that there's other people in there that can answer your question, even if I don't even respond to it, right?
Correct. Yeah.
It's
I've had other ones in the group share with me and send me the master list and answer some questions for me. It's just nice to have, and that's the theme of the group, masterminds. There's more
yeah,
than one, and they all have different experiences and different values, and you have access to all of that.
yeah. Um, just to wrap things up now, Gordy, because I want to respect her time. What would you say to the people watching this that may be interested in working with me? What would you say to them?
I would tell them, one, I was born 20 years too late. I wish I had done this a lot earlier. If you follow this, if you jump, if you pray on this, if it's in your soul, you have got nothing to lose, and you have got everything to gain, from education to financial stability to financial value and growth, that you can retire. And doing that right there gives you the ability to live the life that you want, the way you want to live it, and where you want to live it. and protect yourself and your family and your family's families. And that's something you can't get on a job anywhere. I don't care how much they're paying you.
Exactly. One thing I want to tell everybody is that the current levels of where mining companies are, it's the worst mining market in 40 years. So the risk to reward, there's a huge upside for reward and a very small downside to the risk. So they've been beaten up so bad that if you get in at this level, at these levels, there's small amount of risk. I mean, I have over 50 companies on my list, I think. And I think that at least 10 to 15% will go to zero. But the winners, the top ones that will be, 5x, 10x, 20x, I think those will more than make up for any ones that go to zero, and it's going to be significantly higher. And the longer that you have to build positions, the greater amount of money you'll be able to have once there's a bull market. Now, I'm not making any promises as far as returns or how much money you'll make. All I know is that if you don't play the game, you're not going to make any money. You got to get in.
And the other thing that you said right there, Andrew, is those companies that go to zero, they become tax write-offs against your gains.
That's important to know. Yeah, it's entirely true. If you have capital and you can roll over your losses into another future year if you wish to do that also.
Sure.
But that's great. It's great. It's great that for people to know that. One thing I want to say to people is that my goal is to grow this group as big as possible, to reach as much as possible, because I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this because I've had so many people reach out to me for asking me to help them. People, it's such a niche that there's not everybody and their brother doing this. And so it's important to know that you're not late to the train station. The train is still at the station, but eventually, if you wait too long, the train's going to leave without you. So you need to get your tickets, get aboard, get aboard the train, even if you're late. I'd rather be early to the party than get to the party and there's nobody there. The party's already gone. So for me, it's okay to be early because you know what? I'm building my positions. I'm doing it wisely. I'm not doing it foolishly. We're not like day trading, we're not doing Vegas style gambling. This is educated, concise, set it and forget it, and add your positions as you get more funds. Also, I wanted to mention to people that in the past 2 years, I've lived in 7 different countries. So I was telling Gordy, I designed my life the way I want to live, and this is the ultimate dream for me, to be able to live anywhere on earth, anywhere, and go anywhere anytime I please. And so if this is the kind of lifestyle that you want to have, then get out of the thinking that you have to be in your backyard to invest, especially with real estate. You got to get out of that. Get out of that mindset that you have to be in your backyard or you have to be within the United States. Like the world is so beautiful and it's so interesting. I just felt the need to share that.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful position, Andrew. And the issue is not everybody wants to leave the United States, but the issue is in the group, you will have the option.
The option.
That's what you want. You want the option to do whatever you need to do for you and your family. And that's the beautiful part of smart investing with the Mastermind group.
That's great. So Gordy, any last words for people? We'll just wrap up.
Yeah. If you're in doubt at all, give Andrew a call and just have one-on-one conversations with him. And you can call me if you want. Andrew would have to give you my number. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to tell you right now, I've been doing this investing, trying to find something like this group for 40 years. And too late in life for me. Well, and not too late in life for me. God's blessed me with many extra years. So he figures that I'm probably not done yet. I've got something else to do. And I'm hoping and wishing and praying that this is the group that I want to be with. And in my heart and my soul, it's exactly where I want to be. And you'd have to have a bull element to pull me out of here now.
Well, Gordy, you know, both of us have a purpose, and
Yes.
our purpose is what gives us the energy, the health, the vibrance, the vitality, and that's what keeps us moving forward in life. And my wish and my prayer for you is that you have abundance, you have health, you have success. And it's a pleasure for me to get to work with you. So thank you so much for joining me on this quick interview. And thank you so much for everybody watching. If you have any questions, like Gordy mentioned, reach out to me. Just send me a Facebook message. You can find me on my website, andrewmcdaniels.com. I'm on Twitter, or X as they call it now. I have two free groups. One on Facebook. So if you're not ready, go into my free group. You can message me and I can give you the details for that. Also on the Signal app, I have a free group. So if you're not ready, those are the first things that I recommend that you do. Then once you have at least, I'd say, 30 grand to 50 grand liquid, that's the minimum I would put into this, because it's just not worth your time, or like, it's just not worth your time if you have less than like 30 grand. But yeah, that's basically in a nutshell. Once you're ready, you just reach out to me, and then we can take it from there. But that's it. Gordy, thank you so much. Enjoy Florida, and we'll keep in touch. All right.
Thank you for your time, your talents, and your expertise, Andrew. I'm looking forward to the future.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye now.
Bye.